Hey, what's going on? Steel City Sports Road back in the house, man. I'm Luther Dupree, joined as always, Hall of Famer Claudia Rosano, Smoker Jim's on the phone. Ralph Williams is back in the house. Philip Fillmore is back in the house as well. What's going on, fellas?
What's going on? Always good to be on.
Oh, man, we're good, man. Good to be here.
Yeah, I know that's right. What's up, Jim? Can you hear us?
Yeah, what's up, my man Fillmore?
What's happening, Mr. Whispers?
Hey, number to call in, man. We got some people jumping in already. Thank you, Destiny. I appreciate that with a thumbs up already. Hey, listen, NBA draft, NBA finals. We got a couple L's already. Fillmore, Claudio, Ralph, you all came in. Take your L's. We'll talk about that a little bit later. How's everything going, Claudio?
Everything's good, brother. Just surviving this heat. Italians don't like the heat, and this is hot.
Super hot out there. Ralph, what's going on?
Oh, not much, man. Everything's fine. Hanging in there like Claudio. I'm surviving the heat here, so staying in my nice air-conditioned home and staying out of the heat.
Got you. Fillmore, you good?
Oh, yeah, I'm good, man. I took my my clients in a therapy session to the pool. You know what I'm saying? That right there is therapy all day.
There you go. That's the best therapy. This weather, yeah, cool them off. There you go. Hey, listen, man, a lot of great topics that we can talk about today. It's exciting. It's an exciting time. It's one of my favorite times of the year. The NBA draft, the NBA finals. Football is about to start back up. But let's start it off. Claudia, what's on your mind? What's on your huddle up today?
Two sayings. One's an Italian saying, an aching tooth is better out than in, okay? And the other old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 30 times, which is what's going on with O'Neal Cruz. O'Neal Cruz is a 5-tool player, but he's not using any of those tools. Whatever is going on upstairs, that's on him. But if I were the Pirates, he's going to want, at least that's what the reports are saying, he's going to command 200 plus, which they're not going to give him anyway, nor should they. They should get rid of him now. Now that people still think that they can fix him. Now that teams still feel that we can make it work with him. Don't just get prospects, okay? Because you don't know about prospects. Get a couple, but get some guys who are just ready to hit the big time major league level. Start putting pieces together on that team. This is what major league scouts are supposed to do. They're supposed to figure out who's close to just busting out. And yes, get a few prospects too. You can get a boatload of people for O'Neal Cruz before he blows it even more. But they got to get rid of him. Keeping him is not going to be good because he's gonna continue to do this. He's going to continue to do this, and it's not good.
Hey, now you're Hall of Fame baseball coach, man. This play that we're showing, man. What would you have done? Has any one of your players done this before? What would you have done?
Luther, Billy Martin. There's a fame. I'll tell you what I would do in a second. 1978 against the Boston Red Sox. Billy Martin took Reggie Jackson out of a game on NBC Game of the Week. They said he dogged it on a ball, which I don't really think Reggie did. It was a soft hit ball. He sends Paul Blair out there and says, Reggie, you're in. And, of course, they get into the infamous argument in the dugout. He should not have done that, okay? But what I would have done here, and I'd have snapped verbally, and this was the third, fourth, fifth time O'Neal Cruz did something, I pull him. And I go out there. Maybe I shouldn't do this, but I would go out there probably a few steps from the dugout, and then and if he wants to start, then we'll start. But there's no way in hell I would allow that. No way in hell. And you don't bench him for what he didn't bench him, and he did it again. A couple days later by not running balls out. He didn't know how many outs there were, whatever the hell it was. You don't do that.
You would have gone Bobby Knight. You would have gone Bobby Knight on him and snatched him up by the collar?
Oh, no. I would never touch anybody unless they touch me first. I would never do that. I would never do that unless he touched me first. I don't throw the first punch, I throw the second 25, as Billy Martin said. But you do not allow that, because if you allow, again, forgive me, another Italian saying, Fillmore, is soft dirt, hard dirt. You get a shovel and you bang it against cement or hard dirt, you're going to try one time, maybe two times. If it's soft, you're going to keep digging, keep digging, keep digging. O'Neal Cruz has been digging like crazy because nobody has reprimanded him. Nobody. Maybe behind closed doors, that didn't work. Okay? You have to show him, I ain't taking that. But really, they should have said this at the beginning of the season. This is what we expect. Years ago, they used to have the Oriole way, the Dodger way, the Pirate way. What is the Pirate way now? Do this? It's not good.
Not good at
Not
all.
good.
All right. Smoking Jim, what you got for us, man?
Hey, thanks, Lou. Everybody knows me know I don't get hot, don't get cold. So I was walking around all day with a jacket on until somebody told me it was 100 degrees. So I'll take you guys' word for it that it was hot outside.
Oh, my God.
Hey, congratulations to Coach Mike Tomlin for finally cracking the top 10 of all-time NFL head coaches. And listen, Bud Crawford and
Canelo Alvarez.
getting $50 million. Canelo's getting $150 million, which is good, Lou, because now let's set up the Benavidez fight, because Canelo wanted $200 million for the Benavidez fight. So they just got to come up with a little bit more money, and I think we'll see that fight pretty soon. And finally, Lou, I think that I'm the first one to say, I was the only one to say that Aaron Rodgers had a lot of throws in that arm. Now everybody's loving Aaron Rodgers now here in Pittsburgh. What you got to do to show how much you love Aaron Rodgers and the chance to go to the Super Bowl is you got to make C.J. Watt the highest paid player in NFL history.
Well, it wouldn't be the highest paid. I mean, defensive player. Yeah, and I think that would be the wrong move, but it looks like they're going to head that way and make that move happen, man. You know, I don't know, man. I just don't like paying a defensive player that much money, Smoking Jim. You know, I just can't see it.
Luther, if you have to think about it, then it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with it altogether. You know, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, all these guys. I've been saying it. They don't affect the game enough to be getting $40 million a year, man. I just don't do it. You know. But all right. Hey, listen, number to call 412-530-5063. You know, mine is relatively simple. One thing I'm thinking about, man, the NBA draft is going on tonight, and we got another Cooper. Smoking Jim is high on every Cooper in professional sports, especially if they're white. And this guy is the real deal, Cooper Flag. I think he's going to a great spot. Anthony Davis is there. Klay Thompson is there. Kyrie Irving's working his way back, but he still signed a 3-year, $120 million contract while he's injured. I think that's an excellent move. And Nico took a lot of heat, but, hey, it worked out in his favor. They got a great starting five once Kyrie gets back. And they'll be right in the mix, man. The West is just loaded. But congrats to Cooper Flag. I think he's one of those guys that can really change a franchise, and he's going to be great. The Western Conference is loaded. I mean, KD is going to the Rockets. I think I predicted that a couple weeks ago. I said either there or the Spurs. The Spurs didn't offer hardly anything. It was the right move for the Rockets to go get him. I think the West is going to be loaded. I don't know what the Lakers are doing. There's rumors that they're trying to get Bam Adebayo from Miami. But, yeah, it's a lot of exciting things going on, man. But congrats to Cooper Flag. And if he reaches all the plateaus, he could be the first player to get $1 billion while playing if he gets all the super maxes. So,
Luther, you think it's a good fit?
I think it's a great fit. Cooper can play anywhere. He'll be small forward, which means he won't have to bang with, some of the power forwards. And he's not going to be expected to come in and drop 30. He can come in, get his 15 to 20, and grow into becoming a superstar. I think I think he's going to the best fit. He's not going like some of these other guys going to franchises where they expect them to be, the franchise player, and only a few of them are. So I think it's a great fit. You don't, okay. Claudia?
You wonder how his teammates will accept him when the numbers come out. And then not only that, but the style of play. Again, one of my favorite teams was the 76ers of the World B. Freeze and the Dr. J's and the Doug Collins and George McGinnis, Caldwell Jones, Daryl Dawkins. There was only one ball. And they didn't win the championship until you had the guy who got underneath Moses Malone and Bobby Jones, who didn't want the ball. He just wanted to play defense, and Maurice Cheeks. That Andrew Toney back then as well. So, again, if they have the right attitude, I always say it's not the best players, it's the best team. So I don't know. I rarely say I don't know, and we'll wait and see. So I'm not going to say it here, but if I had to guess, I think it might be a tough first year. They have to get the right players around him.
Wow. I think they do. I think he's going to have one of the easier rookie years.
But you're right. Not all the bricks on his shoulders. Right.
Yeah, because he has an Anthony Davis. He has a Klay Thompson. He has two good centers. You know what I mean? So he can just come in and grow into the position. So I'm excited. Jim, your thoughts on Cooper? You love guys named Cooper, right?
Is that a white guy?
Yes.
Yeah. Did he go to Dallas today?
He went to Dallas. Yes, the number one pick overall, Jim.
Does Dallas have a basketball team?
It's a white guy. It seems like they're getting the best white guys the last 3 times around, and that sells a lot of tickets for the fan base. I'm surprised that the ownership gave that up. Listen, I disagree with you, Lou. I agree that he can play any position, but he's not soft. He can bang with the power forwards if he had to. But this is a generational player, $1 billion player. And I tell you what, I frequently go to Dallas, so I can't wait to go watch the young man play.
All right. You want to weigh in on that film where you were making some faces as we was talking about Cooper?
Yes, man. I think it will be a kind of a rough year for him as far as fitting in, because he's used to being the man with the ball, right? And how many shots is he going to put up? Where is he going to hang his hat on offense, or is it going to be defense? And also, as the NBA is played right now, the wing position has the better athletes, the better shooters, and the better ball handlers. This is going to be a rough transition for Cooper, who's going to have the weight of everything. He came in with all the fanfare of a Kenyon Martin, all the fanfare of a Zion Williamson. He came with all that fanfare, and that pressure is going to be on him to perform and show out. He may not, if he doesn't just acquiesce to the pressure, he may have a real rough first season. I'm not saying he's not going to be good. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to put him in the Van Horn. Remember, Van Horn came out with the Nets. He had the Great White Hope. There you go, Jim. Right there. I gave you one, Van Horn. But
Pete Maravich went through a lot, and he was better than all of them.
Yeah. Right. I think Cooper will be great, but this first year I think it's going to be tough for him.
The only thing, though, Fillmore, I think he has to have Maravich showed what he could do on the court, and he was 10 times better than all of those guys combined. But I think that Cooper is going to have a Larry Bird attitude where he didn't give a damn about anybody, and if you challenged him, he threw it in your face, and he was talking to you while he was doing it. And I don't think Cooper is going to be as good as Larry Bird, but I'm talking about an attitude, and you have to develop that. You have to throw that punch right away to say, okay, I'm here. I'm not. You said the word acquiesce. Again, I think Bird didn't go in there and Cornbread Maxwell and ML Carr and Larry Pete and bow down. And so I just want to I'm going to run the show here. I'm going to do my thing. And he did. He had the ability to do it. But I think a lot of it is going to be Cooper's attitude. Now, Bird came up rough. Okay. Did Cooper flag? I don't know. I don't know too much about him. But I think it's going to be a tough adjustment.
Oh, listen,
and I think having a teammate like Kyrie, who's also a Dookie, they could translate. You know, they speak that same language. That might help them. But I still think it's going to be rough.
They both played 20 games at Duke. Are they really Duke? Come on, man.
Yeah.
You guys are selling Cooper flags short. You know, we talk about the Olympic team. All he did was put in work. He was giving it to Davis, LeBron, and everyone else during the Olympic trial.
Luther, that's a good point. And you know what? The NBA is different now than it was years ago. I don't think it's as physical. So you may have a point. I think if it's the 70s, 80s, or 90s, he'd have a hell of a time. But now, you know what, Fillmore? He may have a little bit of an easier time now that Luther has shown me the light a little bit.
Generational talent, man. You know, people are disrespecting saying Keith Van Horn and AK-47. No, he's much better than those guys.
I didn't say he wasn't better. I think he'll be great. I think he'll be great. I just think this first season is going to be rough because he's used to being the man, and Kyrie is a ball dominant guy. He can always be the man.
Kyrie's recovering from an ACL. He won't play most of this year. You know, so he's going to be in there with Davis and Thompson. They're going to get him right. You know,
I hope so. I'm rooting for him. Honestly, I mean, even though as much as I don't like Duke, I'm rooting for him. I like when young men come through like that with the fanfare. I want him to be able to overcome that stuff. I root for those guys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, Ralph, you want to weigh in on this? Cooper?
Yeah, I think. Well, I agree with the fact that he has a good supporting cast here. I mean, you know, Luther, you're saying he has a good supporting cast. He might just do well. There's a lot of number one picks that come into the NBA or any kind of league, and they don't have a supporting cast, and they got to do it all. So at least he has a little bit of a supporting cast there to where I think the Mavs can probably work this, you know, with this kid. And, you know, I hope he does well. I mean, I hope he really does well there as you know, as a number one pick, and we'll see what the Mavericks do with them.
Right. Okay.
It's like Jim Luther. He was on some other shows, and when he came on with us, he had a good supporting cast.
Jim flamed out with everybody else, and then we got him right, Claudia.
We got him right
on that one. Getting fired and doing all that.
Hey, Claudia, I have a good supporting cast on Sports Corner Radio Show with yourself, Luther, and Smoke and Jim.
So yes, you do. It's a lot of fun. Yes, sir.
Hey, we got a comment. Who to go? What's up, Who to go? He said Cooper is a generational talent. Okay. All right, Who to go? Yeah, I think so. Good. Generational is a big word. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be possibly great. Generational, woo, that's Larry Bird. You know, LeBron James, Jordan, Kobe type.
Kobe, AI, yeah,
Is he going to have a better career than Christian Laettner?
Oh,
he said, is he? He said, is he? Oh, and he better.
He have a much better pro career than Christian Laettner's. You know, I can
say Played a lot of years.
Yeah, Christian Laettner as a pro was a disappointment. College career, he might have had one of the greatest in recent memory. But as a pro, he didn't do much. He was a disappointment. I think he'll have a much better pro career than Christian Laettner. You know.
Well, compare the Dookies, right? What about Grant Hill? Is he Grant Hill type? Because Grant Hill came in with the same fanfare.
Yeah, and then Grant Hill got injured, and you know that's what messed him up. But he was on a great path. Hopefully, he can avoid the injuries that Grant Hill got. But yeah, Grant Hill was at one, man. They were comparing him like a Jordan, the way he was attacking the hoop and his ankle. Real quick, number to call, 412-530-5063. Let's jump into one of the topics and bring back Jim. One thing we wanted to talk about, Bud Crawford versus Canelo. It's been announced. Jim, you're the biggest Canelo fanboy I've ever met in my life. Your thoughts on this one?
Well, again, I have to correct you. I'm not a fan. I'm a journalist.
Well, you sound like a fan when you talk about
I just call
Canelo.
it the way I see it. I see Canelo as one of the top 5 fighters pound for pound in the history of boxing.
That's why you're a fanboy.
And this is going to be an interesting fight because Bud Crawford is a special talent. He's a special fighter. I don't like him fighting Canelo because I thought Bud Crawford earned the right to retire as one of Claudio's undefeated. But he's going to take a hellacious beating. Again, a lot of times you fans, when you watch the fight, you don't study it the way I do. I told you 2 years ago that the Ghost Martin, when I thought he lost that particular fight, they gave him the decision. I said he needs to take 8 months off because I haven't seen a beating like that since Frazier Ali won. And he took a year off, then he came back and fought again and has been off for another year. I think his career is done. I think Crawford don't retire after this fight. He'll never be the same. You're never the same after you go through the changes with Canelo. It may be subtle, but if you watch it, those body shots, those counter punches, there's going to be a lot of punishment for Bud Crawford.
Yeah, well, Caleb Plant is still fighting,
Well, he quit. Anybody can still fight. Canelo was getting ready to end his life.
No, see this is why you get a fanboy. You're saying nonsense. He hasn't had a knockout in 8. He hasn't had a knockout in 8 fights, Jim. I mean, and he hasn't been fighting top competition. Everybody wants to see him fight David Benavidez, the Mexican monster, and he's been ducking so bad that Benavidez had to move up to 175. Jim, you're not. That's what I'm saying. You can't talk rationally when we talk about Canelo. You're a fanboy. You can't talk rational. There's no journalistic integrity. No, but you started talking all this. Nobody's ever saying.
We're talking about Bud, somebody from a black man from Nebraska.
The baddest man in Nebraska, yes. Is Canelo going to be clean? That's what we need to ask. Is Canelo going to be clean? Is Canelo going to be clean? He's tested dirty before.
Oh, here we go again.
I mean, it's a fact.
We were talking about Bud Crawford Canelo fight.
Yes, and I'm hoping he's clean in this fight. That whole camp is tested dirty. Tommy McGee just tested dirty, Jim, and that's a fact. You don't want to admit it.
That's a fact.
5 fighters, everyone knows this, Jim, that tested dirty. You won't admit that. And here's my thing about Canelo. He picks, he cherry picks. He tried to cherry pick Dimitri Bivol and got destroyed. He got schooled in that fight. He didn't fight Artur Beterbiev. He chose David, Bivol and lost. And I think he's trying to pick and choose. Bud is actually older than Canelo, 35 and 33.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You finished?
Go ahead.
So, see, Canelo is patient, right? He's patient with his fighters. He's just trying to get all of his ducks in a row. He want to know. He just want to be able to be organized, so he know who to duck next. He want all of his ducks in a row. That's all.
Hey, I like that. We have a caller. LD is on the line. LD, what's going on?
Yeah, I just wanted to call in and make a comment about Cooper, number one draft choice.
Yes.
I think he's going to be good, and not only does he have talent, but the league wants someone like him to be the face of the league.
Oh, he got.
What do you guys think about that?
Oh yeah, I mean he's definitely marketable. Went to Duke, has talent, has a personality. Yeah, and Cooper Flagg has been, I followed him since he was in high school. So he's going to the Rutgers, he's going to these places and showed out. So he's the real deal. I think he has star written all over him, and I think he's going to a great spot.
And he's an American white man. That helps all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I told you he's in a great spot, LD. He's in a great spot.
NBA, they have white stars, but a lot of them are from foreign countries.
That's
so
true.
people relate to them, but this guy's from the USA.
Right. I think if he, does everything right, man, he's going to have the marketing. He's going to be ready to rock and roll, man, for sure. Does he remind you of anybody, LD?
Well, with all-around game, really a little bit about, I'd say Larry Bird a little bit. He has to put out a few more pounds, but he can handle the ball. He can shoot. He tries to play D, and he has a lot of ability.
Ooh, yeah.
And that's who he reminds me of.
Okay.
And he can hit the three-pointer. And I'm telling you, he's going to be getting a lot of calls from the referees.
You know what? I could see a little Scottie Pippen in his game. That could do it all. I could see a little Scottie Pippen. We saw what he did against Pitt, got the steal and had one of the nastiest dunks in college. I think he's going to do some great things, man. I mean, he's athletic.
It only happens with Pitt.
Do it all. Would you say, Ralph?
I said it only happens with Pitt.
Oh yeah. They're a highlight. Everybody gets their highlights against Pitt.
Their highlights, yeah, exactly.
Hey, LD, anybody else you're interested in the draft? I know you said Cooper.
Actually, I looked at some of the draft, but with the way college basketball is now, where players can transfer anywhere they want to go to, I don't know where half of these guys come from anymore.
Yeah.
That's true.
I used to have players that I knew because they played at a certain university. Now you might know someone this year. They might transfer 3 more times before you hear from them again. They have to change those rules, I believe.
You're talking about the transfer portal?
Yes. Same with football.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't think you should be stuck when the coaches can leave. Why can't the players? Because a lot of times these players go to school for a coach. The coach leaves. In years past, they would be stuck with that team, and they only went there because of the coach. Now the coach leaves, the players have a chance to leave. I don't have a problem with it, honestly. I think it's freedom. I like the freedom.
All I'm saying is that the guys transfer so much. Me being a fan, half the time I don't know where the guy's playing at the next year.
That is yeah. I mean, I can't be difficult, but I like the fact that kids aren't getting locked in anymore.
Right. I agree.
I'm glad they're getting money and everything, but I think, and some of these guys seem like they stay in college for 6-7 years.
Yeah, I agree with LD. There has to be some kind of structure here, and the NCAA has none. And it's out of control. The transfer portal and the NIL is out of control. They need to cap it. They need to do something with this and structure everything and put it together because it's out of control. Worse than ever.
But I'm glad the players are making money.
Oh, my. I just...
Some structure.
Yeah, I hear you, LD. I mean, it's definitely a new ball game.
Now, but is that a fan issue, or is that an NBA issue, or is that an NCAA issue? Right? Is it a player issue, or is it a fan issue? Because we have trouble following, so it's hard to build up fans for that team. You could be garbage for anyone else, but you're valuable to your team. So now, boom, you got that name, right? Like DeJuan Blair, he just had bad knees. So, but he was good. We knew DeJuan Blair. We were like, that's a Pitt guy, right? Now, but what if after the first year he transferred to Minnesota or Wisconsin or Gonzaga? The Zags won't know him. So it doesn't follow him in the NBA. That's a fan issue. But is it an NBA issue?
LD, what your thoughts on that?
That's a difficult question. Like I was saying, I just like guys. Like some guys go to college as a freshman. they're good for 2 years. They get their name out there, and then they might go to the pros.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have guys who, after the first year, they transfer to a college, and you might not even hear about the guy again.
That's true.
That's true.
And
Some of these
my
guys,
connection to that player.
Right.
and some of these guys, they leave in their freshman and sophomore year from college. They try to get into the NBA draft for money purposes for their family and stuff like that. And, over the years, we've seen players do that because they need to support their family. But with NIL now, you don't need to do that. But that has happened.
It definitely has. Now, this is another issue, though. If you don't come out after your first year, NBA teams think something's wrong with you.
Yeah. If the longer you stay, the lower you'll get drafted. As you saw with the Lakers, as Dalton Connect.
You're never going to have like Ralph Sampson play 4 years, Patrick Ewing play. It's that
Tim
time
Duncan.
is done. So when now you have to have different expectations. I used to love the Big East and the rivalries and even the ACC back when I followed NC State, North Carolina. There was rivalries.
Ray Felton, them guys, yeah.
Now it's over. It's over. It's never. It's just like, for example, LD professional wrestling used to be, a lot better years ago. Now they've given you the secret sauce, and it just isn't magical anymore. It's not the same.
Good point.
College basketball just isn't the same anymore. And the NBC Game of the Week, with Al McGuire and Dick Enberg, and those guys they did not like each other. Okay, I mean the players, the teams, and there was real rivalries. Now it seems like the rivalries are the fans versus the fans. North Carolina State, the fans, but the players,
they all know each other. Yeah, from
don't know each other. They might not be there next year. They're gonna,
they might be teammates next year. Claudio, you can't burn no bridges.
Well, yeah, and I don't blame the players. Like I said, I never forget. LD, one time I was at a mall and I saw, number 5, number 14 at Michigan, Weber and Rose, and they I'm sure they were getting a little something, but this is who you are. This is how you make a buck, and I don't have a problem with it. Right. If you're going to benefit for it, and anybody who says, "Oh no, it's not right," well, then you put your name out there for sale. And if you're a big enough dog that people want to purchase your material, your content, your songs, your uniform, and you don't want money for it, yes, you do. Yes, you do. But now the expectations are different. When you step outside of your house this morning, you expect it to be hot. Right. So be ready for heat. Now, whenever you watch a game, LD, and like I said, I didn't even watch the draft this year because I don't know who half these guys are. And it's just not the same. So I expect that and I move on. It's not that I expect it to be good, and it's not. I know what it's going to be. And not that these guys aren't great players. It's just much, much different.
Hey, LD, we got Robert Thomas. What's up, Robert? Thanks for tuning in, man. Did you watch the NBA Finals at all? And what were your thoughts? OKC was, pretty much the team to beat all year long. Claudio, of course,
Luther, don't worry.
Was wrong.
Don't worry, Luther. I took my L.
But what was your thoughts? Yeah. You could hold that L along with Claudio.
Yeah, the Indiana Pacers. I took my L. So.
LD, you still on?
Yeah, I just want to say about the playoffs between the Pacers and Oklahoma City.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was a tremendous series. Okay. And when I called your show a couple weeks ago, I wanted 7 games.
You did.
You said that. You said that.
But just one comment before I go. If Halliburton doesn't get hurt in that last game, I think the Pacers would have won that series.
You think they would win?
What you guys say about that?
I agree.
Hold on, LD. You can't leave like that.
I agree.
I think it would have been closer, but I think they still lose by at least 10. Everybody was hot for OKC. Indiana fought hard that first half. They had a little bit of a lead, but I just think the depth of OKC was a little too much. Guys who weren't hitting, started hitting. But it was great. It was sad to see that happen, man.
Yeah.
And I thought he should not have played in Game 6. As you see, a lot of these guys who are playing through these calf strain, they end up tearing their Achilles.
That's right.
Durant did it. Mason Taylor.
That's right.
Damian Lillard.
The reason I think the Pacers would have won in that first quarter, Halliburton hit, I think, 3 threes in a row.
3 threes, right.
I've seen him play sometimes in a game. When he starts out that way, he might hit for 40.
LD, I was thinking Willis Reed. He came out, hit those first 2 shots, and that was it. And that team had a lot of heart, and they ran with it from there, but it didn't work out this time.
Hey, LD, before you leave, what about Kevin?
That would have been a tremendous game.
Yeah, I think so.
It's the breaks.
What about Kevin Durant traded to the Rockets?
I don't know if that's great or not because Durant is older. That team has a lot of young guys, and sometimes older and younger don't mix together so well.
They were number 2.
I agree with you. I think it's a great point. But Durant has scored more points in his 30s than he did when he was in his 20s. He's still scoring. Now, is he going to is I'm sorry?
That's a good point.
Yeah. Now the thing is, though, like LD said, is that everything is relationships. It's a match. It's a mixed match. Is it going to connect? I think it will. I think it's going to elevate Houston to be one of the top 3 teams in the West. I think so, but I do understand where LD's coming from.
Ime Udoka, he was on the staff with the Brooklyn Nets,
right?
When Durant was there, so he's coming into a familiar system. Now personality-wise, it seems like he's an easygoing guy. I don't know him, but it seems like he's pretty easygoing. He's not a domineering person, so I think he'll fit in well, and he can fit in well with any team because he's a shooter.
Right, yeah. and he doesn't have to get a lot of shots. He's real.
And his stats were better than anybody on the Rockets, field goal percentage-wise. I think. Right. I think.
Hey, LD, I think it's going to be a great fit because in the playoffs, they didn't have a guy you could give it to at the end of the game and say, I need a bucket.
Right.
A lot of those games against Golden State came down to, they had Steph Curry, in that series. And the Rockets had Jalen Green, who was averaging 8 points in the most important. Now they have the guy that's always going to get 20. I think it's a great fit. Ime Udoka or Ustroka, as I call him. He always has his team playing great defense, and now he's one of the few coaches that Kevin Durant actually gets along with. So I think this is a match made in heaven. I think they're going to be fighting for one of the top seeds. And here's another thing. I don't think they're done yet. I think they're still trying to find a way where they could get like a Jaylen Brown or another veteran on that team.
You know what they need, Luth? They need somebody, as the old thing that they say, a lunch bucket guy. Somebody who's going to come in there and bang, somebody who's going to pass, somebody who doesn't really want the ball, who can be a complimentary player, a veteran type guy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely.
Indiana's having the fire sale right now.
Yeah.
You mean Indiana or Boston?
Both of them. Both their star players are hurt, especially Indiana. They're not going to go do come back next year because next year is going to be a wash to them because they're not going to have Halliburton. So they're getting rid of old contracts like Miles Turner.
You don't think Miles Turner will be back?
No. It'd be a waste of a year in the league for him. There's no way they're going to compete with Halliburton. They're not. Okay. They're having a fire sale just like Boston is.
Well, listen, Boston's down. You have Indiana's down with all their injuries, and Milwaukee. They have, Giannis, the Greek freak, and Dame Lillard's out with a Achilles injury. So the East is wide open. I think it's between the Cavs and the Knicks and Orlando. LD, any final thoughts?
Yeah, just before I go, Kevin Durant was with Phoenix. Right. And some of you guys, I'm sure you saw Phoenix play. they had 3 players who played no defense. And one of those 3 players was Kevin Durant.
Oh, oh man, listen.
Okay, we're talking to you guys.
You just don't like Kevin Durant, I think, LD. Hey, appreciate the call, man. He frees up a line. Somebody else could jump in with that as well. Hey, Jim, you still with us or you sleep, man? You've been kind of quiet.
Yeah, I'm still here. I just what's the kid's name? Halliburton?
Tyrese Halliburton, yes.
I think he ought to get into coaching because his career is over. I don't think he'll ever come back.
He's 20. Listen, he's 25. He had an Achilles tear. Kevin Durant had one a couple years ago, and he's 37.
Well, he's not Kevin Durant, number one. Number two, he has to sit out all of 2026. So, you think he'll come back in 2027? He's not going to be. I think he should just get into coaching. I think his career is over. That's just my opinion.
Man, listen.
I don't see him coming back.
Listen,
from this. I think they ended his career. Like, I agree with you, Lou. He never should have played. He never should have played those last 2 games. I do agree with LD. Had he played, Indiana might have won and been world champs. Would have, could have, should have. Now it's time to get into coaching for this. His basketball career is over.
Jim, you're talking like this is back in this.
With no Achilles.
Jim, there's 3 players out with Achilles. It's not the same. You're not like this is the 70s.
Players that lost their careers for them.
Okay, and also, Jim,
every now and again somebody can come back from it.
No, it's a common thing now, Jim.
Most people can't come back from Achilles in basketball.
Jim, they have the best doctors. He had the same guy who did Kobe surgery and Kevin Durant
and Clay. Come on, man.
Jim,
do you want somebody that hasn't played in 2 years? You want to depend on him?
Jim,
I wouldn't depend on him if I'm.
His career. Listen, his career wasn't based.
He had a great work ethic. Have you?
Jim,
you got to come back. I don't think he got a great work ethic, Lou. I think he ought to get into coaching or WWE. He's on wrestling a lot. Maybe WWE. But
Jim,
basketball career is over. In my opinion.
Jim, that'll be another L for you because one, it's not the 70s. This is a common injury, unfortunately, nowadays, and guys come back and play. And another thing, his basketball wasn't based on athleticism. He's a great passer. He's a pass-first point guard, and he doesn't even jump on his jump shots. It's a set shot. So it's not. It's the Achilles is not going to hurt. He'll be fine, Jim.
I mean, he's not Willis Reed. He's not playing.
And he's not Iverson, as far as speed. He was
down the court, Lou. I can't depend on somebody that I got to wait 2 years for.
It'll be 1 year.
Somebody that's not known for their work ethic.
Oh, Jim, I've never heard he was lazy at all. So I completely disagree.
I'm not saying he's lazy, but he's had a lot of wrestling matches, Lou. That tells me that.
What are you talking about, man?
You enjoy wrestling. You and Ralph do a wrestling show.
Yes, we do.
That doesn't mean anything, Jim.
Luke, if I could talk about the Canelo Crawford fight, I think Canelo. Because we're going 1, 2, 3, we forgot number 2. I'm being like Jim. I think he's extremely overrated. If you Canelo, you talk about the big 4. Let's talk about the big 5. Include De La Hoya. He wouldn't have beat De La Hoya, Sugar Ray Leonard, Hagler, or Hearns, or Duran. Okay, but yet people put him up in the Mount Rushmore, at least Jim does, the Mount Rushmore of greatest boxers of all time. He has fought the right people, like you said, Luther. And then there was some style, like Caleb Plant was giving him trouble for a while. Mayweather made him look terrible. That was terrible. So this fight, Crawford's going to have to move, and he will. And I'm not being hypocritical here. I think Canelo's going to have to fight the fight of his life. He hasn't had he has not had a knockout. He's going to have to hit the body a lot. and I think he's going to do it. And I'm not a Canelo fan. As I said, I think he's overrated. I like Crawford, but for some reason, I'm thinking Canelo's going. This is every fighter, every great fighter does have that one fight where he can hang his hat on. I don't think Canelo has that fight. Okay, this has to be it, and I think you can be tough guy. You can lie. You can't lie to yourself. You can't look in the mirror and say what isn't true. He knows he needs this fight. He needs something to hang his hat on. Because of that, I think he's going to be a grinder, a mucker, as they say in hockey, and he's going to fight a tough fight. He's going to go to the body. I don't think it's going to knock him out, but I think he's going to throw enough punches, enough body punches, land enough. He's going to get hit too, but I think he's going to eke out a split decision.
Okay.
And Luther, I'm on your side. I never thought he was too much. I know Jim loves him, and that's good. I respect that. But I just think Canelo is overrated. But he needs this fight, and I think he'll turn it up. And I think and again, styles make fights, but I don't think Crawford can move as much as a Plant, as much as a Mayweather. Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to be there to get hit. And I think those fights, now Bivol didn't move much, but Bivol was very, very surgical and tactful. But I think Canelo's going to land enough punches to squeeze out a split decision.
Okay. All right, Ralph Fillmore, your thoughts?
Go ahead, Ralph.
Well, I don't know much about these fighters like you do, but it sounds like Canelo is a desperate guy looking to win a fight. And if that's the case, and if Crawford can show him up, hey, you know what? He might lose this fight. You know what I mean? And that could happen. If Crawford really wants to come in here and just and take care of him, and if Canelo's fighting bums and picking and choosing who he wants to fight, and cherry picking, like you said earlier, Luther, this guy, maybe this is the fight that he loses, another one that he loses.
Well, they weren't actual bums. I wouldn't say that at all, but they weren't. There were some belt holders. Right. There were some guys that they knew that the styles, again, make fights, and that he had I don't want to say an advantage, but they were pretty confident that he could beat him. And now Bivol, right. I think Luther and I didn't think he was going to win that fight, and he didn't. Bivol is a professional. I mean, he's really tough, and he showed it. And but again, I think he's going to have to be one of those guys one of those fights where he's going to have to go in and, like, for example, Sugar Ray against Durant. In the first fight, I know Jim doesn't agree. If Sugar Ray would have been Sugar Ray, he would have done the same thing to him he did the second fight. Okay, but he stood there and he was. What's that?
What you're saying, Claudio, is Canelo has to be Canelo. He can't be somebody else.
Well, you know what? Sugar Ray should have danced and moved and been showed like he did against Hagler. Mm-hmm. Okay,
right.
Canelo is going to have to be, I don't want to say a brawler, but he's going to have to go in there and take a few punches, land some to the body, and then connect to the head. Because and another thing too, Crawford, I don't know if his punch is going to move up. Mm. And also, people always talk about the punch moving up, but will his chin move up? When Donnie Lalonde fought Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Leonard said, every time Donnie hit me, I felt it. Every time. And that could also be an advantage for Canelo. I don't know if Crawford's punch is going to go up and his chin isn't going to go up. People forget about that.
Right. That's a great point.
That's a great point.
And Bud Crawford fought at 154 his last fight a year ago against Madrimov, and his punches didn't have the same effect. He was coming off like a 10 knockout streak at welterweight at 147, but at 154, the punches weren't hitting the same against Madrimov. And now he's moving up again to 168. I'm wondering if he's going to be able to keep Canelo off. I think he's going to move a little more, but he's fighting. And
what did I tell you and Jim? He looked bigger. He is bigger. I mean, not bigger than Canelo. I made a mistake with that. But he's a little wider, and you wonder if he's going to have that same snap, and is he going to be able to move as well?
Yeah, that's a key thing, man. And we do have who's in here? Who's this? Who the GOAT is in here? Y'all, wow, Canelo and his dirty meat going to stop weight classes for a reason. They won't let you get off of it, Jim. All the PEDs that he keeps getting caught with, Jim.
The dirty meat. But one thing about
Canelo meat. Go ahead.
One thing about Crawford, like, and that, man, that's a great point. Would his chin go up? Because chin don't change. I don't care how low you go or how you go. Chin don't change.
Yes,
but one thing about Crawford that I noticed about him, he's one of the most balanced fighters I've ever seen.
True.
Which meaning that he can throw power from like various positions, southpaw, traditional. He can still hit you with power either way. And he can fight you in a phone booth, and you will miss.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be able to move he doesn't move like Floyd. Very few can.
Exactly.
Very few can. So he's going to fight him in the phone booth, and he's going to have a whole lot of head movement. He's going to have to get low like a Pernell Whitaker, like a Ike Corte. He's going to have to use that type of defense.
That's true.
That's a great point. When you mentioned like a Roy Jones. I mean, when he got hit. But he moved all over the place. Prince Hassim Hamed moved all over the place. Mm-hmm. But you look at a guy like Whitaker or a Paul Spadafora or a lot of those guys, I'm losing it. There was another guy that I mentioned on our boxing show. They just moved an inch, and barely an inch, and you miss them. Okay. Mm-hmm. And Crawford was one of those guys where he just moved a quarter of an inch and you missed them. Okay. But is he going to be able to do that? Now, Davis does that. I'm trying to think, Luther, who was that? We made that.
Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Shakur Stevenson, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, is Crawford going to be able to do that when you weigh that much more?
Right. Who the GOAT is in there? He said Canelo body work can be the difference.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Right, we got ATL Unanimous in the house. What's up, ATL? Appreciate you coming through, man. Who you got in the Canelo versus Bud fight? Everybody put in the chat too, so we can get yours as we get ready to wrap up. Jim, so what are your early predictions? I mean, you saw the weigh-in, you saw these guys talking. And one interesting thing was Canelo said he hasn't beaten an elite fighter. And I was expecting Bud Crawford to say Spence. He said Postell and Ricky Burns. And it's not like Canelo beat a lot of elite fighters in the prime of their career either.
He didn't. Triple G was on his way down.
Yep.
Get to me, Lou. I mean,
I'm waiting, Jim. I'm waiting, Jim. Oh my! Here you go.
The man turned pro at 15. He was 140 pounds. He moved all the way up to heavyweight. I mean, nobody gives him any credit. The guy got over 70 fights. He got 50-some knockouts. He's fought 20 former world champions. He don't get no credit. I mean, somebody move up 2 or 3 pounds, and they say that he moved up almost 100 pounds. And this is a guy that if he had blonde hair or dark
Jim.
hair, everybody
Uncle Ruckus, no relation.
There you go, Jim. You always got to take it to the.
I wanted to go all the way up to heavyweight fight Usyk. You ain't happy until somebody beats Canelo, and it ain't gonna happen with Crawford.
Jim. First of all, we see them lose, Jim.
On the planet that said he would destroy Spence, and he did. Now he went for the money. He went for the $50 million. Canelo gave him $50 million.
Canelo didn't give it. Turkey gave it to him. It wasn't Canelo.
Everybody's gonna pay the price.
I mean, it could be. He's moving up. He's daring to be great. But listen, Jim, we've seen Canelo lose. We've seen him get dominated by Floyd. We've seen him get dominated by Dimitri Bivol. We've seen him get schooled by Erislandy Lara, and they robbed him. So we've seen him get outboxed before. He's nothing special, like you said, Jim. You know, if Buds is able to keep some of his mobility at 168 and is able to stop Canelo, I think he can win. I think he can go the distance, but I'm not sure Bud can win on the cards because it's very hard to beat Canelo on the cards. But I think he can go 12. I want Bud to win. I don't like anybody who cheats in boxing, and Canelo has gotten cheated and suspended for PED use in the past. I want Bud to win, but I'm not sure he can win on cards.
Who's Canelo's promoter and who's Crawford's promoter? Because that does play a role.
How many redhead friends you got?
Jim, aren't you a redhead, Jim?
How many
When you had hair, you had red hair.
Hey yo, man, Jim never fails, man. Jim never fails. I be waiting for his takes because you don't know where he's gonna go.
Right. Once Jim starts losing, he starts talking about red hair and who got bigger lips and who's winning the title battle. That's Jim's arguing points. Listen, I think Bud has some advantages. I think he has better feet. I think he has better hand speed, but he's fighting at a heavier weight division. As far as chin, Canelo clearly has a better chin. He's a harder puncher. So, it's interesting. We got
it's tough to bring that weight up. Bobby Ches had a tough time. Dwight Muhammad Quali had a tough time. Holyfield did not. Vinny Paz did not. Some of those guys can do it and some can't. I don't know if Crawford, James Toney, he did, but he was not he was another guy who was very, you barely missed him. But as he climbed to heavyweight,
heavyweight.
And Jones, as he moved up. I'm sorry.
I never boxed competitively. I just used boxing as therapy, but I was a wrestler for about 12 years. And when you go up in weight, I don't care if it's 5 pounds, you notice the difference.
No doubt.
You notice it. They leaning on you. They hold you. The strength there's a difference.
Right. 154 to 168 is huge. Hey, Robert's in here. He says Crawford 100% smarter and more accurate. All right, Robert, we're going to see.
Hey, Claudio, Canelo's promoter is Turkey Alashki from the Riyadh season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Turkey's doing this card. Turkey's doing this card, Claudio. So we'll see. It should be interesting, man. I want to thank everybody. I know we're wrapping up. Any final thoughts, Jim? Any more talk about redheads or somebody's lips? What's going on? Any predictions, Smoking Jim?
Well, I'm a big fan of Fillmore's. I just want to know where he wrestled at.
George Westinghouse High School.
He's a bulldog.
High school?
George Westinghouse, the house, baby.
Westinghouse.
Wrestled, played football, ran track, all that.
Yeah, one of our arch enemies, man. One of our arch.
Fillmore, I wrestled as well, and my opponent was called Life. I'm still wrestling.
We all wrestling with that, Claudio.
What's that?
I said we're all wrestling with that.
Man, I'm telling you.
As we wrap up, Ralph, any final thoughts?
No, it's going to be an interesting fight. We'll see what happens with Canelo and Crawford. That's all I can say.
Okay, all right. Claudio, final thoughts?
We're going to Ralph's in Maryland and watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
On the front deck, you can come right out and watch. Set up a big screen. Let's do it.
There you go.
There you go. Fillmore, once again, appreciate you coming on, man. You always bring it, man. And, Jim doesn't take you off with his off.
I love it, man. Hey, Jim, I need you to watch the movie The Great White Hype and pull out Irish Terry Conklin.
Any last thoughts? You good, Jim? I want to make sure I get you. I don't want you to be crying again. All right, hey, I got to come back because you always say I'm leaving you out. Just saying that, man. I appreciate it, everybody. ATL, Unanimous Boxing Sports, Robert Thomas, Who the Goat, Destiny, Frank Jackson. Appreciate all you guys, man. Great fight. We had the draft coming up. Next show, we got a special guest coming on, so I want everybody to tune back in, man. But I appreciate everybody. Check out the website, scsportsworld.com. We got some big things, some giveaways coming up, and we check you out next time. Peace.